Picking up where we left off, Omeawo, the understanding that all nations of the earth shall be blessed is not talking about all nations. It is only speaking of the nations of Asare, that is Israel. Ènyè. So I want to show you Fomeawo. Here we are. Fomeawo, right? We just left Mishpacha. Fomeawo. Let's take a look. Fomeawo. Comes from our word for former. As you can see here, former. Former awo is just awo is the plural. Former is the singular, family. And you see it says family, race, tribe, see, sole of the foot, Sélɔ. And then these are not as prevalent or necessary. Family, race, tribe. Family, race, tribe. But this one right here, you'll see in just a few moments or a few minutes when we get there, how sole of the foot is very important. You'll understand how does family relate to the sole of the foot. You're going to see. You're going to see for me. So now that we understand that's because that vowel is talking about the immediate family, your race, your tribe. Let's get a couple of precepts here to further our understanding. And you can see, just for understanding's sake, looking at some of these, how our language works, different, I suppose, adjectives, if you will, change the meaning. In this sense, the word stands alone. To give you an example, so you can see the text for yourself of what I'm saying, show you how this stands alone. Fomeawo, cho fomeawo, get a gbo pleto fome. Leave your family and your father's house. There is none of those adjectives are there. You see? See? None of those adjectives are included. So I'm just showing you how I know and understand that that's just talking about the singular understanding of family and nothing else, not humanity. If it was talking about humanity, you would have seen forme ameawo, amewo, fue. And then that fue would it would say this hyphen is where this would go. So it'd be like amewo fue forma. That would be humanity. So I'm just showing you that this isn't to be mistaken with humanity. We have a way of speaking in our language that would help you differentiate what we are talking about. I would say amewo fue forma humanity. But if I just say forma, I'm just talking about family. See? So there is no way to mix this up in the actual chosen tongue. Let's get the book of Amo. And it's always amazing because my great grandfather's name is Amo. They gave you Amos, but it's just Amen. Again, this is ever. They're just changing it and adding things, but it's actually just Ama. Remember, in Greek, S is like just denoting masculine, feminine, and or plurality, but not so in the other actual Hebrew tongue. So it's actually Amen, the book of Amen. Yama, remember we already went over that in CNWG. Ama is our word for people. A person is Ama. It's a very often used word in our language. You just saw it a minute ago. Ama fue forma. So uh I'm recording. Kafla. Uh Now, what we got? Oh, almost. I want to use the English first. Let's go to the book of Amos. That is Amos. So really, when you see this book, that remember that's the Fofo Amawu, that's our father's name. Nyama. Nye being the characteristic, but the Ama representing the person. So remember, we called him Amen. I've showed all that in CNWG. So really, this is like the book of Mawu in actuality. But it's and if you even if you want to look at it as a man, it will be like looking at it as a man named, as you already have this understanding even in Christianity, that these different so-called prophets were named after the Most High. You see? So Amen, the book of Amen. And we are going to chapter 3 and verse 1 through 2. Here, the roar of the lion, right? Hear this word that Anyame hath spoken against you, O children of Asare, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Michichre, that is Egypt, saying, You only, verse 2, have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all of your iniquities. Now, we have an example of the families here. Let's take a look and see what word is there in the other tongue. One more time before I get that. Hear the word of Anyame spoke against you, O children of Asare. This isn't going where you think it's going. Stay with me. Against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Michechre, Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore will I punish you for all of your iniquities. Let's get this word for families, and then I'm going to show you the curveball. If you studied and understand CNWG, uh, then you're catching, you caught, you understand what I'm about to bring out. If you've been paying attention, you will understand what I'm about to bring out. So let's get this into ever tongue. In ever, it is, let's go to Amo. Amma, book of Amma, chapter 2, chapter 3. Let's get that verse 2. Aber miawo koe, nieduko, what nieduko, duko. Si metia le duko, si wo kantan le anikbaji la doma. Yeah. So the word there is duko. And we just went over that. That duko would mean what? Uh-huh. A heathen or a pagan is someone who does not subscribe to any of the three major religions, i.e., at this time, someone who is not keeping the Torah, the law, who doesn't subscribe to our Mawu. So you can understand the religion of Asade or of Israel. So that's what Dukor means, someone who does not subscribe to the revelation of Avraham, right? Remember, wenye nye mauga dekakoe, right? Mawu, you are the Most High alone. That revelation that we broke down from Asayi or Jubilees. So, someone who does not keep the law. Okay, the law meaning the Sélɔ, all of the Afa, Bokokoe, the Kokoe, the Koe Afa, the holy scriptures, the Torah, the wisdom, the laws, statutes, and commandments that we're supposed to be keeping. This individual is considered a sinner or a dukoewo, a koi, a goy, right? A Gentile living as a heathen. Are you following me for me? That is the word that is there in the ancient tongue. Now, to point out what you may have missed. So for understanding's sake, who have I taught you wasn't there at the time the law was given? I pointed out that Ga was not there. Everyone did not leave at the same time. There were plenty of Israel or Israelites who left before what you call the Exodus. You see, God specifically, Eddie and some of his sons, Arodi and others, we had already left. Northern tribes. The 600,000 is an exaggeration. That is the superhero theology, is what I'm teaching. There was no 600,000. There was only a select few that actually received this understanding. You have to separate the superhero theology from reality, the story that they've given you from what actually happened. But it is documented by the people, the actual people, Asade, in my oral tradition of my tribe, that we left before it got to that point. And there were others. But the bottom line is everyone wasn't there. So if you have that understanding for me, now let's read it. Hear this word that Anyame has spoken against you, O northern tribes. Aha. I submit to you that this is literally talking about the northern tribes here. Remember, a lot of these texts, Hosea, those are northern tribe texts. They're talking to the northern tribes. O children of Israel doesn't mean everybody. Against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, now, remember, this is speaking to those family, right? Dukoi, you see it right there. Blibo. So remember, leaving at different time. The whole family brought from Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all of your iniquities. Oh, Kafla. Kafla. I remember I wrote this. Remember, it's been almost going 3 months now. So I got to put myself in the mindset here. Kafla. Enyo, Kafla, Babama. Just trying, like I said, I'm trying to make sure I remember the proper way I had this drawn up. Scratch what I said, what I was about to do, which was separate, say it was talking to only the northern tribes. Incorrect. Here it is saying what it's saying, and the way we know that is because it says whole family. So again, it's being uh we are being very definitive in describing what we're saying, as always. That's why I said, "Oh, children of Israel," so you're not confused against the whole family, northern and southern. Although we may have left at different points, um, you have to understand that we still um, were led. We were both led by the Spirit. Don't forget, this is we are Jacobi. That is our father. So we already had, to use a term that a Christian term, right? A relationship, if you will, with the Most High. Just because we hadn't received the commandments yet doesn't mean we didn't already have a relationship. Don't forget the 42 laws of Ma'at um, are what you could call the early version of the commandments. Okay. Um, so he's saying to us all, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all of your iniquities. So this is showing my point. He's not talking to everybody. Ham, Japheth, Edom, only the specific lineage within Sem, and definitely not Kem or Yahweh. Uh-huh. Next precept. Let's go to Romans chapter 9 and verse 1 through 3. Book of Romans chapter 9, verse 1 through 3. And you can see the title, Mawu's election of who? Asare. I say the truth in Amesi, or Christ. I lie not, Amesi Cheche. I lie not, my conscience also bearing me witness in the Bogbo Kokwe, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. 3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Amasicheche for my who? Brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh. You've heard this plenty of times. Let's examine it deeply. We bring that up in our ever tongue. Let's go to Romans 9 and verse 3. Edrongon ha. Belewa wotala. Mawu na fo. Fui adem fa. Where's my verse at here? Oh, it's verse 2. Kafla. Make sure I'm correct here. It's verse 2. That's actually verse 2. It looks like. Let me see if that lines up properly. Verse 2. Yes, it's just the text is laid out a little bit different. Kafla, making sure I got this right. Yeah, it's just the verses don't line up exactly because of the differences in thought and length of words, whatnot. Blah, blah, blah. But the word for brethren is right here. Le novinye, my brethren. So in the English, it's in verse 3, but in the other, it's in verse 2. You understand? Um, Vevesim, veve is sorrow. Vevesim, that's talking about being sorrowful. Gile vevesim. So the word for brethren is right here. Novinye. And I'm about to prove it to you in just a moment. Don't worry. Why am I pointing this out? This is very important. Novinye. Let's take a look at that word noivi. Let's take a look at that word noivi. Noivi. There it is. Boom. Brother or sister of the same mother. What? Of the brother or sister of the same mother. Uh-huh. One more time. A brother or sister of the same mother. That is a noivi. So here he says my okim, which is what you would say it in the modern Hebrew, but my noivi, my noivineu, my brethren, a brother of the same mother. Now, is he talking specifically to his tribe here? Because remember, there were different mothers for different tribes. You have 4 women all together, 4 different mothers make up the whole house of Asade. I'm going to show you the mother that he is speaking of here for me. Precept must be upon precept. Let's go to Galatians 4 and 26. When I said that, some light bulbs probably just popped. Some light bulbs probably just popped when I said that. Let's go to Galatians 4 and 26. Galatians 4, verse 26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free. Which is the mother? What? Which is the mother? What? Which is the mother? Which is the mother of us all? Blibo is what the word for, or kantan, blibo, all of us. Jebu Selom, which is above is free, which is the mother of us all. Are you connecting the dots for me? Jebu Selom is the land. The land that is called what? The motherland. I showed you in format. I said, why does it say soles of the feet? Because it's referring to a territory. Sélɔ, a specific territory. Specifically, the Holy Land. See, honoring the father and mother, these scriptures, these words, these verses begin to hit very differently when you understand the culture and the mindset in which they are given. So when he's talking about his brethren, his novinyewo, he's talking about the same mother, not their literal mother, but the motherland, making a specific claim to the land that was given to us by Mawuga. You can see that today. What are the Israeli and the what are they called? What are they called, y'all? Palestinians. What are they fighting over? claim to the land. See, we're the ones not fighting for what is ours, but we know that it does not belong to either one of them. But only a specific people was given that inheritance. That is the whole house of Asare. That is what unifies us and gives us community. That's why when we sin, we were what? Kicked out of the land. It's literally called the land of the living. It gets very deep. So when it says he was cut off from the land of the living, even that has a completely different meaning than the spiritual one that Christians and the liars and deceivers have given it. I digress so we may progress. Jerusalem is the mother land. It's the mother that unifies us, who only one people can you identify with that land. And see, again, the message is to do what? Unify the 12 tribes. Nationality. I can't be in China talking about American nationality. See how egregious the whole African hate movement is? I digress so we may progress. Now, so Noivi is our word for saying mother, all right? Be it spiritually or physically, right? Literally or figuratively. Precept. Genesis chapter, not precept, but back to Genesis chapter 12 and verse 3. Back to Genesis chapter 12 and verse 3. What did it say for me? I will bless them that curse thee, and I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curseth thee. And in thee shall all the families of the earth, what? Of the earth be blessed. In thee, Avahama, shall all the families, we know is the Mishpacha, we know this is the Fomeawo. We go back. We know this is the Fomeawo, verse 3. Nigbaji Fomeawo Kanta Atoaho Yayara. All the families of the earth shall be Yayara blessed. Mewa Anigbaji. Anigba is the earth. Right? In thee. Mewa in thee Anigbaji upon the earth. For Meawo Kata, all families Atoaho Yayara of the earth shall be blessed. The word, our word, is Anigba for earth. I can show you that word in the beginning with Edim. We're going to get there in just a moment. Let's see the word with that in mind. Let me bring to your remembrance that word, not goy, but was I on 12 and 3 here? Let's see. This is 12 and 3. Look at the word here for earth. It's 127. Again. Oh no, not yet, not that word. I want families. The word for families there. Families, there it is. 4940. Mishpacha, family, clan, tribe, kindred. We've already looked into that. So we understand, now we have an understanding of that word. And that when it says, Kafla, make sure I'm not ahead of myself here. Yeah, we went over Mishpacha. Yeah. Remember, so what we learned about Mishpacha is that it's referring to those within that either immediate or even just extending within the same tribe. So it's talking about just Israel there, right? what I want you to see here about this word is right here. This noun is feminine. This noun is what? Feminine. How does that tie into what we just learned? I said the motherland, Noivi, the mother of us all. It's feminine. Just proving my point, right? This word is feminine form, dealing with the mothers. Now, leaving the land to give you an understanding, a deeper understanding here of the physical side. Stay with me. We have a word for fathers. All right, we have a separate word for fathers, and that word for fathers is toivi. Let me show you. No is a mother. To is a father. Vi is a child. So novi is a child of the mother. Toivi is child of the father, just to give you a short, quick understanding. Toivi versus novi. Toivi versus novi. I'm sorry, novi versus toivi, getting the tones correct. Why it's taking so long to come up? Here we go. Boom. Brother or sister of the same father, but different mothers. So when we're speaking as one Israelite, that is, we are Toivi Nyewo, my brethren, according to the flesh. That's all of us coming out of the same father. But the word Noivi was used there to hearken to our nationality, right? Nationhood, pride in our nation, in our land. Remember, at this time, we're still in where? Asare. But we have brothers and sisters who were afar off in what were the early stages of the diaspora. Uh-huh. You see, there is a difference between a nation and a tribe, former. Simply put, your spirit comes from your mother. That is your tribe or your clan. And I went over some of this in CNWG. And that's heavy because those spiritual scriptures shine a new light. See, your spirit comes from your mother. So I'm saying those spiritual scriptures that you read now shine a new light with that understanding. Let's go to Romans chapter 9, verse 6 through 9. Romans 9, 6 through 9. Let's get there. Romans 9, 6 through 9. It states, not as though the word of Mawu hath taken none effect. For they are not all Asare, which are of Asare. Telling you what? We're now talking about the spirit. So there is a conversation to be had for the spirit. It's just that obviously when we're talking to Christians and doing battle with them, they're trying to derail it into spiritual Israel. You see? There is no spiritual Israel. This is talking about the spirit or the mentality, the mindset that a Israelite should have, no different than the argument we're making against illegal aliens now. It's like, okay, you're here in a foreign country, but your mindset is showing that you're trying to bring your country into ours. You're not behaving like an America. You understand? So the term we use, modern term, is what? When in Rome, right? So that's what it's talking about is nationality, the mindset. This is how you're supposed to be operating the Torah. It was lost, right? People hadn't seen it at all, some people. But that is our wisdom in the sight of the nations. That is the head, you see. Uh-huh. Uh, Neither because they are the seed of Avraham. So remember, we're talking specifically to Asare. Are they all children? But in school shall thy seed be called. Now, this is again proving only you have I chosen from all families of the earth, right? Um, Now he's saying the seed of Ahamed, only in Yitzku shall your seed be called. So now this is the verse that now even further separates who he's speaking of within Sem. We know that Kem and Yahweh is not included. You already got that understanding. But this is giving us the understanding that even within Sem, it's still a specific line that he's speaking to. And that is the the children of Israel, or the children of Jacobi, to be more accurate. Verse 8. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of Mawu, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed. The children of what? The promise. When it's talking about the spirit, this doesn't highlight the way I wish it would. So I'll hold it for a second. When it's talking about the spirit, it's speaking of the promise. The promise we know is if you keep my commandments, I will bless you. If you do not keep my commandments, I will curse you. Kafla, scratch that. I'm ahead of myself. The promise is what we've been reading in Genesis chapter 12. That is the promise. Children of the flesh. Check this out. Akba Mawu. Akba Mawu. Mawu Akba. Check this out for me. Akba. This solves a very old argument that one of our brothers likes to use. Who is one of the people that claims they teach the one true God and claims that the Genesis prophecy of liken unto your brethren shall be rose up. Ishmael, the Arabs, the Muslims. Boy, who's seeing what I'm bringing forth? The flesh is considered the father. You get your spirit. Oh, kafla. The flesh is the mother. There we go. Mind is, I'm so excited. The spirit comes from your father. Flesh comes from the mother. That's where you plant a seed. Wherever you plant it, it's going to take on the characteristics of that soil. That's the mother. But the spirit is of the father. See? Are you operating in the mindset, the sewel, the law of your father? Check it out now. So you had Avraham, you had Sarah, and you had Hagar. And we know that she first had the older brother, Ishmael, right? Well, that would be we uh share the same father. We do not share the same mother, right? One second. Kafla. I hate being this choppy, but I'm doing these segments, days and weeks apart. I'm doing it as I have time, so I lose track of the mindset when I wrote the whole thing out. Baba man, please bear with me, because I had it mixed up in my mind of the mother, and no, we have the same father. Spirit comes from the father. When it says promise here, though, your mind would only go to Genesis 12, and that's the deception. It's precept upon precept. So when it says the promise, you have to read on to understand what it's talking about, the spiritual promise he's speaking of. Let's keep reading. 9. For this is the word of promise. So now it's going to tell you what the promise is. Check it out. At this time will I come and Serah. Who? Seyaram. Her name was Sarah. And it went to Seyaram. And Seyaram shall have a son. So it's not Hagar. It's telling you the promise went to Seyaram. And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Yitku, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any evil, good or evil, that the purpose of Mawu according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. Now I want to stop at verse 9. That's all we needed. Seyaram shall have a son. So this is putting in context when he was speaking to Avraham, in thee shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. You can't just leave that there by itself. You have to read on further to get the full context and understand that there is more to understand that promise. Look at it like this. That's the beginning of the promise. And then you have further details, right? It's saying that, but there's further details to what that promise, exactly what that promise is, if that makes sense. See, because it says, for this is the word of promise. In Genesis 12, he's telling him this. When you go on, he comes back, he's talking to Seyaram. You're going to have a son. You see? So just showing, it's reaffirming what I'm saying to you, that is that verse, that chapter of Genesis 12, the promise is not speaking to everyone. It's only speaking to Asare, right? This is making my this understanding linear, my thought process linear here. The ideology, the doctrine is sound. What I'm telling you is what I'm doing. So that's where I was off. So because those spiritual scriptures. So again, when you see spiritual, think father. When you see flesh, think mother. When you see what I'm saying? It literally says, by a woman came the fall. Sin is a feminine word equated with femininity, effeminate. That's why it says effeminate won't get in. Righteousness is a masculine word equated with masculinity. You understand? The flesh, sensual, versus the above, spiritual. That's the man, and the female is the lower. You understand? Uh-huh. A nation is divided by the mother's tongue. What? A nation is divided by the mother's tongue. Selah. Hence how the 12 patriarchs were divided. This is literally how mankind was divided. Remember? And when I say that, it's not 12 different tongues. It's just that, remember, you had you're dealing with about three different tongues. And so as these different brothers are following then learning from their mothers, there's gonna be a split there. Because remember, you're not just marrying one woman, you're marrying a family. And then the children are with the mother before up until they are weaned. Of course, she's going to be speaking in her native tongue. So the division takes place when the different tongues come in. That is the ancient way a tribe was mainly defined by the tongue. Even now, it continues. The Lashawan Kodash has split us off into a brand new tribe. We speak Lashawan Kodash over here in the West. They don't speak Lashawan Kodash in Africa. That's a language barrier. See? Proof, that's how mankind was divided. Genesis 11, verse 1. Genesis 11 and verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. The whole earth was of one language and of one speech. This be my mind be going to some places, y'all. I be wanting to go there and I can't. I just see everything so differently now. Once you have the proper understanding, again, just like coming out of Christianity, it's the exact same feeling. Your eyes are open when you apply your culture to the scriptures, the true culture, not the romanticized one that Israelites have created in their heads. But we were all of one language and of one speech. Mm. So that's how the earth was divided, right? It was by the languages, and there's other scriptures to back that up. Let's go to verse 9. Verse 9 says, therefore is the name of it called Babla. Babla means to babble, right? Babla. And Babla is actually is ever word for speaking. So confusion, Babla, house of confusion. Because Anyame did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did Anyame scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. See? Proving my point. But the key for me is earth. Earth is the key. Let's get that word earth. And I'm speaking specifically back to Genesis 12 and 3. Let's see what word is there, right? All the families of the earth shall be blessed. Let's see what word is there. Mewo inyu anigbaji fomiawo kata. Anigba is the word. Oh, for earth and ever. But I'm going to show you what's there in the language it was written in, which is the Twi, or so-called Aramaic. Let's see what's there in the Strongs here. Earth, 127. Adama. What? Adama. What was our forefather's name? The first man? Adam. H127. Land, ground, earth. This is the translation that you can take. Land, ground, earth. How do I always refer to our homeland? I say the soil. This is what they chose to put in verse 3 of Genesis 12. Again, for the purposes of confusion. What if they put the word land there? What if they put the word ground? How would that read for me? And in thee shall all the families of the land be blessed. What if we replace this with tribes? Shall all the tribes of the land, shall all the tribes of the ground. What is the land for me? What is the ground? What is this speaking about the whole earth, or is it speaking about a specific territory? What is it speaking about, Former? Let's get some understanding. Slow down to number 5 on the Brown Driver Briggs list here. Look what 5 says. Land, territory, huh? Territory, what? Territory or country. In thee shall all families of the territory be blessed. Shall all the families of your country, the country, be blessed. Format, I submit to you, this is only speaking of the territory of Asade, the Holy Land. All the families of the land, the Holy Land, are going to be blessed. Look at verse 1. Get thee up from thy country, the country you're in, and from thy kindred, the family you're with, and from thy father's house unto a land. What? Unto a land that I will show thee. Then it's telling you down here, all families of the land will be blessed. Ooh. You see why they changed the words? It went from land to earth, but they did it cunningly, knowing that the confusion that it would cause. That's 1. That's 3. See what they did here. And then in here, they put arets. Don't worry, about to get that though in just a second. It's all about smoke and mirrors with these people. Don't forget, if you're still holding on to that it was us who wrote the Bible and that everything they're giving you is true, you're a fool. But this is the understanding. These words are interchangeable. So if we're writing them, let's say they didn't change anything, we're still going to have a different understanding. Let me see something here. Aha. Look what we have. Hulewo anigba in verse 1. Look what we have in verse 3. Mewo anigba, same word. They're writing down, you've got arets, and then you've got adama. See? But it doesn't matter because somehow, some way, has to be the Most High. We're able to still maintain the integrity. Let me show you what I'm saying. If you go to the topical lexicon there of Adama, 127, and they changed everything, as you already know, but I'll read this paragraph and jump down. It'll give us the understanding. Overview. Adama occurs about 225 times in the OT and portrays a cultivated soil. What? Portrays a cultivated soil. Does that sound like the whole earth? The productive ground and the territorial, what? And the territorial, what? And the territorial homeland that comes under Anyame's blessing or curse. As part of the promise, further understood, is if you keep my commandments, you'll be blessed. If you break them, you'll be cursed. That's the conditional part of the commandments that are necessary for his promise to be active. See? The territorial homeland comes under Anyame's blessing or curse. While Adama overlaps with Aretz, see the deception? It is generally the nearer, humbler word, stressing the tilled soil from which humanity was formed and upon which covenant life is worked out. Now, but it's the territory or homeland, Jebu that comes under Anyame's blessing or curse, not the whole world. I want to get this now. Contrast with Aretz. Aretz can denote the whole earth. They didn't use Aretz. They used Adama on purpose because to solidify what I'm telling you. A region or even the underworld. Whereas Adama is more restricted to arable soil and covenant territory. Checkmate. Checkmate. This word territory is important. Do you know what tutelary God is? Former. You don't. Let me show you. This is why we called him El Shaddai. El Shaddai. Let me enlighten you. El Shaddai. Anyame El Shaddai. Anye. Anyame El. Oh, here he would say Menye El Shaddai. Shaddai. Let me show you. Almighty. See Hebrew. Let me see if it shows us here. Shaddad. I might have to jump through hoops to get it for you. Destroy, ruin, spoil, oppress. Let me see if I can get it. This is the hoops they make you jump through. But see, I know it's there. No matter how much they change it, I already know it's there. Let me show you. You saw Shaddai. Let me show it to you one more time just to make sure you've got it. You see Shaddai, right? They've got destroyed here. And you'll see them do all this type of crazy stuff all the time. They're just trying to deceive you. Watch this. Let me see if I can get this. Type in territory. Let's see. Let me see here. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let me find this for you all. Let me see. Shaddai. Almighty. Shaddad. I want Shaddad. Let's see. What's the word? Let's try field. Let's try field. Field. Aha. Look what it says. Same Hebrew characters, except you have a ha here. Same Hebrew characters formula. That's truly where El Shaddai came from. Look what it says. Country, field, ground, land, soil. They put Shaddai there and puts destroy, but it was the tutelary deity of the land that became known for protecting his country. That was African. We have African culture and understanding. When you go into different territories, there are different Troawo or gods over those different territories. That's where the whole dusting your feet comes from. When we come out of a different territory, There was borders that were ruled by different gods. He divided the lands according to the people, and he set different gods over those areas. But Mawu himself was over Asade. Let me show you. Mawu Kafa. Let me show you. If you type in the word tutiliary, to I forgot to spell it. Tutiliary deity. It'll come up. Tutelary. Kafla. Tutelary. A tutelary deity is a god or a greater kind who plays the role of a patron, guide, guard, protector of a particular area. Geographic feature, people, nation, person. They were tutelary deities. Specific land. I don't want to say too much or go too far, but he chose that land. So Mawu, Anyame, the Most High, only rules over the borders given to the children of Asade. Asade is our land. You're seeing the wars take place now. It's all part of prophecy in the end. To clear that land, ultimately. Ultimately. But that's why they had to bring our priests back to teach them how to serve Mawu, because they were from different lands and they didn't know how to serve him. But we went and taught them how to serve him. See? And let me type in El Shaddai, because I think it speaks on it. I think it speaks on it. Let's see. Look at this now. See if this is not a contradiction. El Shaddai may derive from the Hebrew word for mountain, symbolizing strength, while others connected to the word for breast, portraying Mawu as a nurturer and provider. So, which one is it? Is it destroyer or is it mountain? Which we already know what the mountain refers to. And when we go back here, let's type in mountain. Proving what I'm saying. You can't argue with what I'm showing you. I'm showing it to you. Mountain. Let's see if we have it there. Let me see if we have it there. I know it's different words. It's okay if not, because my point is made. But my point is already made. So that's how they deceive you. You've seen a blatant contradiction showing you that they already know what I just told you. But they would have you believe that El Shaddai means destroyer. Shaddai, field. So it's Lord of the field, Lord of the land, the landlord. That's where that term comes from. Mawu is our landlord. If you don't pay your rent, you will be evicted. If you break your lease, you will be evicted. And so we were. And as it is this day. Mawu Akbar. Just as it's understood that a specific lineage of Togbi Avahama is counted for the seed, likewise a specific lineage of Edim is chosen. Let me show you Edim. Let me show you Edim. Specific lineage of Edim is chosen. Edim. See that? Edim. This is what how the word is the root of the word edim. D D is the root of the word edim. Look what it says. To be favored. That's what we have from it. We have been favored, smiled upon by the Most High Himself. Edim, to be favored. So in His name, it also, as you can see, to resemble, because that means He was made in His image. So as long as we walk in the image of our Father, the Spirit of our Father, we are in the garden. When we fail to do so, we are kicked out of the garden. We lose our favor. Mabu Akbar. In the let me see. Kafla. Oh, that's this is the noting Genesis 12 and 3. Let me see. Let me see what I have here. Kafla, Genesis 12 and 3. Let's see, Genesis 12 and 3 has for me. I will. Oh, I already had it up. It's okay. I see. I made a mistake. It's okay. I already had this version up. I meant to have the other version up because in the EB14 version, let me see what I have here. Oh, I think I was just showing that both versions have Formeawo in them. I think that's what I was showing. Yeah. Let's finish with verse 4 and verse 5. Correct? Yeah, let's get verse 4 and verse 5 here. So Avram departed, as Anyame had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Avram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. 5. And Avram took Sarai, his wife, and Lot, his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came. The Akani. Remember the Kani spirit representing the spirit, all tying back in to what I'm teaching you. The land of Canaan became, as we know, aka the land of Asare, which is our homeland, which contains Jebu Sélɔ, set up by Uncle Batogbe Sem himself, passed down to Uncle Hamuraba, who is Avahama. Uh-huh. What were all of our families engaging in that would cause them to need salvation? Do I have time? Let's see. I don't have time because it's going to take me. I don't think I have time to grab these verses. I'm going to grab these verses. I'm going to grab these verses. Oh, did I set that up though? Let me see. I don't know if I have that set up, ready to go. Let me see. Oh, I do have that set up ready to go. All right, let's go for it. Let's go for it. What were our families engaging in that would cause them to need Salvation. Let's go to Exodus 22 through 4. Exodus 22 through 4. Ènyè anyame. Wo maula, which have brought thee out of the land of Michechere, out of the house of bondage. 3. Thou shalt have no other Troawa before me. 4. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or Tronawo, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Again, you have to understand the culture. This is literal format. Carved, stone, wood, stone. This is literal. These are shrines. This is what our people were getting into. Okay? If you don't have that understanding, the proper cultural paradigm, then you don't get it. He said, don't do this. You should not have any before me. Do not do this for me. See? This is literal. Second book of Adam and Eve, chapter 20, verse 5 through 6. Verse 5 through 6. Satan, also taught Genu to bring strong drink out of corn, and this Genu used to bring together companies upon companies in drink houses, clubs, anyone, bars, anyone, nightlife, and brought into their hands all manner of fruits and flowers, and they drank together. That's just talking about strong alcoholic beverages. Thus did this Genu, and you see that with pouring libations to the shrines. All right. Thus did this Genu. Then Ganon is like saying Kana. It's another of like Kinon, right? So the etymological variant of Kana or Kana. All right. Thus did Kano multiply sin exceedingly. He also acted with pride, Equitians, LGBTQIA, and taught the children of Cain to commit all manner of grossest wickedness, which they knew not, and put them up to manifold doings which they knew not before. Sin upon sin. We were being taught all of this wickedness. Let's jump to verse 10 through 16. Go a little closer for you. Then sin increased among them greatly, until a man married his own sister. What were we into for me? Until a man married his own sister, or daughter, or mother, and others, or the daughter of his father's sister. This is not Sodom and Gomorrah for me. This is before then. This is old. This is ancient. So that there was no more distinction of relationship. He always liked separation, holiness, demarcation, kinship. He did not want us to lose who we were. This is after we came down the mountain. We were enticed by the sons of Cain, the sons of Seth, the word, were enticed by the sons of Cain, the spirit versus the flesh. And they no longer knew what is iniquity. What is sin? If it had not been for the law, I had not known sin, but did wickedly. And the earth was defiled with sin. The what? The land was defiled with sin. See, it wasn't the whole world then, right? It was that specific territory, which would have been the Holy Land, where we were dwelling. It was defiled with sin. And they angered Mawu. This is from the beginning. He kicked us out of the garden. He's only over a specific territory. Just like a father in a household is only over his specific house. And if you don't do what we say to do, we kick you out. And they angered Mawu, the judge. The who? The judge, your honor. Come on. Who had created them? Verse 11. But Kanu, but Kanu gathered together companies upon companies that played on horns and all other instruments we have already mentioned. These are your bands and your the birth of your bands, music. And the foot of the holy mountain. The what? Holy mountain, El Shaddai. Mount Sinai. Sinai. Sinai means where the law was given. Se-na, the law was given. And they did so in order that the children of Se, who were on the holy mountain, should hear it. 12. But when the children of Se heard the noise, they wondered, and came by companies, and stood on the top of the mountain to look at those below. You have to debase yourself. You have to drop your standards in order to sin, to lose your heritage, your good name. 12. But the children of Se heard the noise, they wondered and came by companies and stood at the top of the mountain to look down at those below. And they did thus the whole year. Temptation. 13. When at the end of that year, Canu saw that they were being won over to him little by little, Sato entered into him and taught him to make dyeing stuffs for garments of diverse patterns and made him understand how to dye crimson and purple and what's not. 14. And the sons of Cain, who wrought all this and shone in beauty and gorgeous apparel, the man looking good, gathered together at the foot of the mountain of splendor with horns and gorgeous dresses and horse races, committing all manner of abominations. So your SRTs, your and all drag racing, street racing, that's nothing new. 15. Meanwhile, the children of Se, who were on the holy mountain, prayed and praised Mawu. So they're focused on the Most High and life. In the place of the host of the what? Angels. Uh, who had fallen. Wherefore Mawu had called them angels, because he rejoiced over them greatly. So the same referred to us, the children of Se, as angels. Mawu Dolawo, Dola, that's what the angel is Mawu Dola, followers of the Most High, essentially, doing what we're supposed to do. 16. But after this, they no longer kept his commandment, nor held by the promise he had made to their fathers, but they relaxed from their fasting and praying, and from the counsel of Yahweh, their father. And they kept on gathering together on the top of the mountain to look upon the children of Cain from morning until evening, and upon what they did, upon their beautiful dresses and ornaments. Jump down to verse 31 through 34. And when they looked at the daughters of Cain and their beautiful figures, BBLs, anyone? And their hands and feet dyed with color. This your makeup, fingernails, adornments from a lady. Tattooed in ornaments. What? Tattooed in ornaments. Ain't that what the fast women wear today? On their faces, the fire of sin was kindled in them. 32. Then Satan made them look most beautiful before the sons of Seth, as he also made the sons of Seth appear of the fairest in the eyes of the daughters of Cain, so that the daughters of Cain lusted after the sons of Seth. like ravenous beasts. And the sons of Seth after the daughters of Cain, until they committed abomination with them. 33. But after they had thus fallen into this defilement, and you know this, if you choose to walk this path as a righteous man of Mawu, suddenly all of these loose women start throwing themselves at you. That's the temptation. But after they had thus fallen into this defilement, they returned by the way. So they committed the abomination, right? Went down into the daughters. I'm showing you the real account here, not the superhero theology of the spiritual angels coming down having sex with women. If you accept that narrative, then you have to accept the impregnation that takes place to conceive Jesus by the Holy Spirit. Oh, it's not possible for me. So this was literal. The righteous ones lowered themselves and committed abomination sex with the fallen ones, the seed of Cain. Se intermingled with the seed, his seed with the seed of Cain. It's like the high class marrying the low class. Now all you have is the low class. You diminish your seed line. See? Practical. Very practical. No need to all this belief and spirituality, this mess that ain't actually happening in that way. But after they, verse 33, after they had thus fallen into this defilement, they returned by the way they had come and tried to ascend the holy mountain, but they could not. Kabla. Because the stones of that holy mountain were of fire flashing. That's your flaming swords. So that's talking about the stones being hot somehow. Before them, by reason of which they could not go up again. So see, right flaming swords when you get to Genesis, spiritual superhero theology. Fire flashing, holy mountain, lightning could have done that. Remember, Yahweh is the lightning god in our African spiritualities, especially look at Yoruba. Yahweh is a lightning god. That's where you get Thor from. See? So lightning could have come down and struck a fire. But see, once again, that's a way more practical than flaming swords and angels standing there. 34. And Mawu was angry with them and repented of them because they had come down from glory and had thereby lost and forsaken their own purity or innocence and were falling into the defilement of sin. Let's get Genesis chapter 20, verse 11 and 12. Genesis 20, 11 and 12. Here we are. And Avraham said, because I thought surely the fear of Mawu is not in this place, and they will slay me for my wife's sake. 12, Sélɔ. And yet indeed she is my sister. She is who? She is my sister. Aha. She is the daughter of my father. She is who? She is the daughter of my father. Toivinye. You didn't know that. Avraham, Togbi Avraham, married his sister. Didn't they just say that in in the book of Adam and Eve? So that a man will marry his sister or his mother or his daughter. Now you're seeing why that took place. We were walking in sin. Togbi Avraham had a revelation and he was chosen. He didn't know better. It's not that he was perfect. It's that he didn't know better, but he began to wake up. And Mawu Akbar, he began to teach him the truth. So when you see this, you're seeing it's not of him that that when he's talking about not by works, this is what he's talking about, but by the promise. How are we going to get there if I cut him off now? That's what's going on. He's a child. Your children make mistakes. Do you kick them out of the house when they're 5? Oh, you've got to train them. You know better, you do better. But he was already married to his sister when he had the revelation. See? This was the land. This is how the land was operating at that time. Our Torah began to say, oh, we can't do that stuff anymore. Hence the separation. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. Why? The father is spiritual, the mother is physical. Till this day in Africa, you can't marry. It is taboo, it is abomination to marry um, a person from your own clan. You can marry an individual from another clan or tribe, but you can't marry someone from your own tribe. To this day. And it goes back to this right here. You can marry someone of your father's, but not your mother, because the mother is considered flesh. That's considered your flesh. But you can marry your father because that's considered spirit. See that? So you have to marry outside of your tribe. Um, sorry, not outside of your tribe. I'm saying that incorrectly. But there's a distinction between like your there's different to show this is true. This is African customs. Kafla, I didn't brush up on this before. I'm saying this. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to give the wrong information. But essentially, the clans, these I don't want to say this and be wrong with it. But this practice is upheld today. Okay. Uh, you can't marry someone of your own clan. Um, and what I may do, I don't have time to look that video up and insert it here. I would do that. Let me think for just a second. I'm not going to say this wrong. I don't want to do that. Look at it like this. There's tribes and then there's clans. The clan is like your mother. And you don't marry someone of your own clan. So you can marry someone of your own tribe, but not of your own clan. So it's forgive me if I'm saying that wrong. Let me pause this, but just I'm out of time. I'm out of time. I'm going to pause this for just a second. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Because he says this. I gotta go, man. He says this. He actually says this. Let me go this way. Okay, I took a second to get this worked out. For you, it was just a split second, so it doesn't matter. But I got an article here to prove what I'm saying. But he sinned because he had married his sister, which is from Toivi, from his fathers. That is the same, considered to be the same spirit. That is taboo not to do that. Um, the mother is not prohibited to marry if you have different fathers, because again, that would be two different seed lines coming together. If you marry from the same father, it's the same seed. If you have two different fathers, that's okay because that can be two different clans or tribes. You see, the mother is just a vessel. So this is just a quick article here to show you what I'm saying. This is in practice today. Again, these customs are all African customs, which prove that we are black without having to argue it. It's just self-evident. And the name of the article, it says, "Don't marry your sisters. Museveni weighs in on inter-clan marriage." That's what the whole debate is over, right? It's a thing. You can look into it yourself, but I just want to give credence to what I said. "You are not allowed to marry somebody from your clan. You must cross and look into other clans. This is not just culture and tradition, but it is also biology and science. Because when you marry people from your clan, you can produce children with defects. That inbreeding is what we call obutu, obutumbane in Ankole, right? So I'm just showing you this called uh, interclan marriages. That's where you get that on this side in Western paradigm of incest, right? Um, but that's why. But so no, this is why you see, for example, you'd always see them being sent, go to so and so's house and marry take a daughter from there because it's being careful not to intermarry within your own clan. See, that's why you saw that practice of going out and getting a wife from another clan. So it's showing that African custom, uh, that African practice or custom in play. You see, Kafla, I didn't plan on having that in the message, but I just wanted to touch on it briefly and show you that I know I was kind of rambling and kind of still am, but I didn't prepare this in the message. But you need to have that understanding to further drive home that this Bible is purely African, strictly African. But if you've been cut off from that culture, then you don't pick up or catch any of these things. Okay. All right, let's get back into it to finish it here. So the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. Okay. Um, let's prove that by going to Luke 1:67 through 70. Luke 1:67 through 70. 67. And his father Zachary was filled with the Holy Spirit and prophesied, saying, 68, Blessed be Anyame, uh, Asarefwe Bawu, for he hath visited and redeemed his people. Okay, that's what I wanted. Kafla, this isn't a further precept. This is further driving home families of the earth means strictly talking about Israel, the land, the territory of Israel. Okay. Genesis 20:11 and 12 stands for itself. There's a precept for that. I'm just not going to it. Okay. And I believe it might be in Jasher, but I'm not going to that right now. Blessed be Anyame. Ènyèséƒ fue Mabu, the Lord of Israel. For he hath visited and redeemed who? His people. Amen. And hath raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began. What? Since the world began. That world began is talking about, again, Asare, world without end. Not talking about the beginning with Edim. Edim was not a prophet. We'll talk more on that maybe later, but Edom was not a prophet for me. Okay. I think I was going to revisit this and I actually didn't. Let me see Genesis 20 and 7. Let me see where I go to here. Genesis 20 and 7. Genesis chapter 20, verse 7. Again, Baba. Now therefore restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet. What? He is a prophet. This is who? Avraham. Um, yes, I stand on what I said. Edom was not a prophet. Okay? Edom was not a prophet. The first prophet, the first you hear that mention is when you get to Avraham. And it's because of that revelation. Yeah. Yeah. So I stand on that for now. I stand on that for now. For he is a prophet, and he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live. And if thou restore not her not, know thou that thou shalt surely die, thou and all that are thine. Right? Verse 71 of Luke, verse 71. That we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. So the enemies are the other nations, the other people of the earth, not Asada. Psalm 83, 1 through 8 proves this. We got this, and we'll finish back in Luke with the last few verses. But let's go to Psalm 83, 1 through 8 for a precept on that. You know this well. Keep not thy silence, O Mawu. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Mawu. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Asade may be no more in remembrance. And that is why now, as a black man, you can't be an Israelite to this day, because of the crafty counsel. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom. So why is he naming other people now? Wouldn't that be a contradiction to save from our enemies? They can't be both. He wouldn't start naming other people as the enemies if they could also be saved. It doesn't make any sense. And the Ishmaelites of Moab, and of the Hagari, Gubal, Ammon, Amamele, the Philistine, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assyria also is joined with them. They have helped the children of Law. Sélɔ. So just showing that, again, specific lineage, and we have enemies of the other peoples on the earth besides ourselves. Let's finish with verse 72 through 75 in Luke to bring part 1 of life after Christ to an end. 72 through 75. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers. What is promised to our fathers? And to remember the covenant, his holy covenant. 73. The oath which he sware to our father Avraham. 74. That he would grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear, which you saw an example of that when with speaking to, I think it was Abimelech right there, right? Where again he gave, return the woman back to him, give his sister, give his wife back to him, showing him defending us, saved from our enemies, right? In holiness and in righteousness. What? In being separate and maintaining our righteousness, doing that which is right, the Sélɔ, the commandments, the law, our moral compass, our code, our constitution before him and all the days of our life. Kum Sélɔ, amen. There it is. Great. So now you understand the promise. Bravo. So do you understand the covenant? We will now give you that understanding, picking up in part 2 of Life After Christ. Stay with us. Try. Amineaba. Piao.